GM.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
How we doing? What's going on?
Feeling fabulous.
FABOLOUS. I am down a Christmas tree this morning.
Aw.
The pressure of free market making fun of me every day. I have succumbed to, and now I live my life in darkness over here.
You know,
I need to turn that TV and put some like NFTs on it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm really thinking in my head about designing. You know, where Alphamint's going to the next level. This show it deserves quite the professional approach. I'm trying to think, what would an NFT studio look like, right? We have so many cool media-focused NFT projects coming online now, especially with Rug Radio from Farouk. You got SimpDAO, or I'm sorry, Irene DAO, which seems to be a creative focused DAO. You know, we're gonna see a lot of let's take this concept and put it on Web3, right? Like OnlyFans for Web3, Uber for Web3, and it becomes a meme of itself. Like, we've
already gone through this phase, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's, to take everything and just apply it to decentralization and all that. And I just don't think that's how it works, right? Crypto came into this world thinking it was going to revolutionize financial transactions, right? Really, what seems to be the Trojan horse and what seems to be putting crypto into everybody's lives is NFTs, right? These are these new, non-fungible tokens. That is what seems to be the Trojan horse for this industry, to get it into the hands of the average person. The average person isn't particularly concerned about using, and I'm talking in the Western world, the average person is not concerned about using Bitcoin or Ethereum to transfer money. While there are some of us that want to live a bankless life and enjoy the decentralized aspects of all of this, the average person, that's not a clear value prop for them, right? Money's a tool. It's what they use to get about life. They have their system. NFTs, that's a new value prop, okay? People are obsessed with collectibles. Digital collectibles just make so much sense, a lot more durable, a lot easier to trade, and it speaks to a completely new generation. Right, to Gen Z. Like, you grew up in the 80s, the 90s, even the early 2000s. It makes no sense to you. Media was something that you paid for, and if you didn't pay for it, you bootlegged it, right? That removed value. Exactly. Yeah, and that removed value from it. Like, this in our heads it's like the song wasn't worth anything, right? Because I could go get it on Napster. And it took a long time for the music industry to embrace this, okay? Because for the longest time, they were like, no, we're still going to charge $14 for an album, go buy it on iTunes, whatever, whereas kids would just listen to music on YouTube. And eventually, the music industry leaned into it, and now, essentially, music is free, right? Music is basically an advertisement for a brand. And now every singer or group is a brand. The music is the advertisement to get you to buy tickets, to buy merchandise, to participate in whatever online services that they have. And that is where I think NFTs are so powerful, because a younger generation actually values what's up. They've been giving everything for free from the beginning, right? So they're all starting from the same point.
Too.
And immediately. So to all of a sudden,
remember when you used to have to wait for a song to come on the radio, or like a show drops a cliffhanger, and like all of a sudden it was like you got to wait a week to see that, and like every once in a while you wait for that like Sunday night show to come on. It's 8 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it's like rerun. Like, oh, it's going to be the week after that. Like, what the fuck?
So an entire generation grows up. We don't own anything. right? Everything in the world is free. Anything we want is free. We don't own anything, whether it's, when we're talking about media, movies, music, etc. Now, all of a sudden, some smart people from Silicon Valley come along and say, hey, you can own things, right? You can own these cool digital things. Here's how you could own them. Now Gen Z's like, oh shit, I could flex by owning that Waka Flocka Flame song. Like, oh, that's cute. You guys are listening to that. Guess what? I own it. Right. Well, it's a crude, not crude, but it's just a very generalized example. I just think that is one reason NFTs are so appealing to a new generation, because now you've given them the ability to own something maybe they never thought they would own, or deep down subconsciously they knew they should own but didn't know how. This is very powerful. This is what I think NFTs are kind of taking crypto into the mainstream in a way that Bankless never could. So there's my rant.
Mic drop. Show's over.
Drop.
That was it. That was all. We're good. Speaking of Alphamint going to the next level, I'll talk about this a little bit more, but I guess we got a little bit of a shout out from an up and coming brand called Metalink yesterday. That was pretty cool. We'll go over that.
Yeah. So nice. Jake Udell, the homie, huge shout out. Metalink has already, they have done a lot for Alphamint here. They were responsible for getting us those cool man allow list spots that we were able to provide to our Moon Lounge members, which has been one of the finer cooks here over the last month. One of the collections billed to be, hey, the next Doodles that I've heard that in more than one alpha room. And yesterday, Metalink put out quite the nice thread. It's not easy getting on these allow lists, as we know. It's one of the main functions of being in the Moon Lounge is the quick, you drop a Discord. Everyone's like, quick, get in, first 1,000, or there's a sign up form, or that's what the hive brain of the DGen Dojo can do for you. So Metalink Labs, run by Jake Udell, put out this great thread teaching,
I'll read it once we get into the show. I've got it queued up already.
Great.
That's something I want to talk about.
Good. Yeah, just to summarize it, it was showing people who are maybe newer to NFTs, like the things you're probably familiar with if you're in Alphamint, but just showing people how to get on these allow lists, what the strategies are. And hey, they shouted out Alphamint. We were very, very
this was not
happy.
Not planned or anything too. They just they just brought it out. So I'm loving the chat that's going on here too. Rad saying, like, remember when you have to sit at your boombox or radio with a blanket set in it and wait for the song to come on because you never knew what order it was coming in, and hit the record button, and then God forbid you missed part of it, or it was mixed into another track, as Hologram mentioned, or even worse, the DJ starts talking over like the first 20 seconds of it before the intro or before the vocals kicked in. So
do Shubs and Rajesh know anything we're saying? Do any of these words mean anything to you?
My son asked me what a VCR was.
Oh, no.
I don't even know that he's really ever used a DVD player. It's crazy. All right, let's get into it. 30 people in the show. We haven't even started it, but we already had some good content there. GM, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of the AM show. It is January 14th. We are feeling good. It has been an interesting week, to say the least. I am your host, R2DJ, and I am joined with me, as always, by Free Market Capitalist.
Everybody wants to be free.
Yeah, I almost assumed your identity there. As I'm going to get busted for identity theft. But yeah, it's Friday. We've had a run of really good shows. I want to thank everybody who's tuned into YouTube as we've transitioned over there. It's been going really, really well for us, and I'm enjoying it. I hope everybody is enjoying the video portion of the show as well. We take some time and energy to put this all together for you, and the support is always so much appreciated. It is Friday, Free Market. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. What a week. It was a slower week here in NFT land, but not without its excitement, that's for sure.
Yeah, and did you get up to anything yesterday? Do you participate in the fees fiasco, or did you get to bed at a reasonable time? What's going on?
Well, I didn't make any hard predictions on fees, but all day, like, my biggest worry was that fees was going to launch, it was going to rocket and kill looks because, as we know, I have quickly turned into a looks maxi. And it's mainly because every day when I log in, I'm not even looking at the looks I've accumulated, which is great because looks could go to zero, but I look at that WETH that's just stacking in my
Mhm.
account. And people were talking a lot yesterday about WTF. They're going to sell it and turn it into looks. Well, good luck with that because I don't think anybody except the sandwich bots were able to sell any WTF yesterday. That liquidity pool was
Oof.
quickly robbed by the MEV bots that were sicked on it and emptied it, and the team did not replenish it until much later in the evening, early into the morning. I believe it's sitting at about 10 cents now, which for the majority of people is not even worth claiming.
Actually, it's going on a little bit of a tear here. We're almost at 17 cents right now. I've been
Oh.
watching it pretty closely. Yeah,
I thought you were going to say 17 cents. 70%? What is this? Crypto
oh,
70%. What is 70% up?
well, I mean, it is essentially about to hit an all-time high here if you ignore the crazy volatility that was going on with the lack of liquidity early
Yeah.
on. At one point, it was at like $9 million, which was a
No,
nice a nice little
what
win for
when
one person.
coins right, when coins ICO, you can never look at that initial candle because again, there's a lot of fuckery with bots and all sorts of things. You don't have accurate price. You could see a price of $100,000 a coin and maybe like 0.0003 coins actually sold at that price, but the chart registers it, right? So you got to always ignore that first candle on an
Yeah.
ICO.
Oh
Doesn't
yeah,
mean
the
anything.
first candle for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what? I
yeah.
fucking hate that it always chews up the charts when you're looking at it too. It makes
Oh,
it zoom out,
that
and
log
everything else is
scale.
just like this, like
Fucks your log
thin,
scale.
flat
Yeah.
line. Ugh,
Pain
hate
in
it.
the ass.
All right, we're going to get into the crypto part of the show. Let me know in the chat if you guys claimed your WTF and what you're planning on doing with it, because I always love hearing the differentiating opinions because everybody has a different strategy. Did you
Actually
do
worth it for me to claim now.
Yeah, no, actually, it's chilling out a little bit, but there's the liquidity pool angle, there's the staking part of it. They also have an NFT, gas was really high when it dropped yesterday. I completely fucked up when it was going down, so I'll get into that once we actually get to the WTF conversation, which will be very, very shortly. But yeah, let me know what you ended up doing, and I'll share it up on screen, and we can talk about it. Looking at the crypto market right now, yesterday we were on a little bit of a run. Bitcoin was hanging out at 44,000, Ethereum 3,400. It's kind of cooled off a little bit, but definitely not a dramatic drop or anything. It looks like it's 4.5%, 5% on the day, but like it's really 5% on the week too. So it's kind of just been trading in that channel sideways. I really think that as the year goes on, free market is going to be more and more vindicated in his prediction that this is going to be kind of a channel year. It's not going to be soft; it'll be a rocky road, but I actually really like this. Somebody being in crypto since early to mid 2017. I really don't want to go through that nutso parabolic run up. Bitcoin hits that $220,000 mark that some people are predicting. ETH hits that $18,000 mark that some people were predicting, and then you just have this like mass exodus, there's capitulation, and then you have an extended bear market where nothing happens. The run between 2018 and 2020 was a fucking grind. And I mean, in hindsight, I wish that I had been building more during that time. And if that were to happen again, I mean, we're not going anywhere. But yeah, I'm more of a fan of like just good, healthy growth for the time being, and really, really set some solid levels here going forward.
Yeah, consolidation is healthy and necessary for markets. And we tend to think about consolidation maybe in a few weeks or a few months, but when an asset class has had the run that crypto has had, it often can consolidate for a year or more. So I think that it's going to be a very healthy consolidation this year. I do think we are going to have that parabolic blow off phase, but it may not be for another 6 years, and we will have quite a few mini cycles in between. But consolidation is healthy. I think my only caution this year, and again, I could be wrong, and we will play it by ear, of course, as things unfold. I would just not get too crazy towards the extremes. If we get back up to 5K on ETH, I would not go leverage long there expecting 10K. And if we go back to 3, I would not sell everything and hide in a cave because you think crypto's going to 0. So just stay kind of, I'm figuring this range is going to hold all year. That's how I'm playing it, and we'll adjust to reality, as I always say.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody that was in it during that time, 2018, 2019, early 2020, mid 2020, there was a lot of people saying, maybe this is dead. Maybe this is, maybe this wasn't what we thought it was. And for a lot of the shit coins, that absolutely was true. But I mean, we bounced back. We've hit this like kind of new paradigm of cryptocurrency being accepted by people. It's definitely not as hated as it was during those times. The total market cap of the crypto world at one point went up to about $3 trillion. And that is definitely a sign of legitimacy. Like people start to take things seriously when you start to use the word trillion involved in it, or multiple trillions. So I don't think that we are ever going to reach a point where, crypto dead. I think that there is going to be a shakeout of a lot of these other coins. Famously, one of my favorite things that Kobe, who we talk about a lot on this show, was talking about on his podcast was like, you look at the top 10 of the crypto market, and it was like, really, is this the best we can do? Like there's Bitcoin and
Right.
Ethereum, and then the rest of it is like that's our top 10. So there's lots of growth in this market. Personally, I used to have a pretty big bag of Cardano, ended up doing pretty well on it. But I mean, Cardano, XRP, like these things aren't doing shit for me, man. Like, take the stable coins out of there. We'll get there though. I just don't think that we're going to ever hit that crypto dead. I think that individual currencies are going to have a slow death cycle as people start to give up on them. But yeah, we're here to stay.
If you think 2 to 3 year cycles are bad, traditional markets go through 10 and 15 year cycles here. They're called secular cycles, secular bulls and secular bears. In the last 15 years, we've gone through 2 sec bears, once in the 70s and now from the year 2000 until 2013. So I would expect crypto to go through a 10-year consolidation period starting in the 2030s. But I think until then, it's pretty much going to be up only with, maybe we take a year off in between.
Yeah. You know what I hate? You just said the 2030s, and I'm like, oh my God, that's in like 20 years. Like what? And I'm like, no, it's
9 years. Nope.
It's not. Nope. 8 years, 7.5, basically.
There you go.
Fucking wild. Okay, let's move on. A couple quick news articles, nothing to go too deep in, but FTX launches $2 billion Web3 venture led by Lightspeed's Amy Wu. Wu plans wide-ranging crypto and blockchain investments for FTX Ventures and will also see FTX gaming business. We talked about this yesterday, but gaming continues to be a very, very hot trend in this market. And based on the trajectory of traditional gaming, I have to believe that it is not going anywhere. But FTX has a very, very large stockpile of cash at their disposal, and they're throwing a cool $2 billion at this, and it's going to be a pretty big deal. Amy Wu, who used to head up Lightspeed, which is a really big VC firm, was an early investor in Epic Games. And if you're not familiar with Epic Games, it owns and started a very small little game called Fortnite. Fortnite is often kind of used in parallel with why Web3 is so important, with all of these skins that are worth a lot of money, digital asset ownership. And so, yeah, that's a pretty good person to be heading up this VC arm of FTX. And, it just the article kind of just goes on to say that, like, eventually all of these gaming companies are going to be in there. You know, Axie making $10 million a day in revenue is always going to put, you know, Web3 gaming on the map. And just as we talked about yesterday, just, you know, the short-term backlash from people in the gaming community regarding the integration of NFTs, I think is going to be short-lived. I think that people are going to start to understand the fact that there's real money behind this, and that it is possible to actually own something in a digital sense. So this was pretty cool. Do you have any big thoughts on this?
No, I mean, you know, crypto gaming is one of the specialties, I would say, of Alphabet, right? We are huge into the on-chain gaming. Our resident expert, Lucas, stays killing all these games. And we've talked about a few points on these trends here, that we think that it's more likely that the killer app comes from a gaming company moving into crypto versus a crypto company moving into gaming. I'm not saying that a crypto company can't do it, and I hope a crypto company does it, though I do think there's a much better chance that you know, Electronic Arts pulls something like this off. And I think that this year we're going to see so many high quality P2Es coming down the pike. A huge shout out to Raid Party, which is one I stay obsessed with.
Oh yeah, that one's looking great.
Man, their animations, their graphics, and understanding what they have going on underneath the hood, a lot of which isn't public yet. And I'm just super, super excited about what's going on there. And yeah, this is gonna, you know, it's just gonna be one of the mega trends this year. So we're on top of it, and this shows that the mainstream is too.
Yeah. And for those of you who aren't like coming from a gaming past, even just traditional gaming, I mean, up until about 5 years ago, gaming was a fad, right? Or like people that weren't in it were saying gaming was a fad,
especially competitive,
blah, blah,
like
blah.
competitive, you know, whatever. I'm not into this. It's funny because I love these on-chain things, but I'm not a gamer. But I observe from I forget what it's called. What do they call competitive gaming?
Esports.
Esports. I'm sorry, kids. I'm not there. I'm fully supportive of it. But yeah, it's quite the effing fit. You know where I started going, wow, because it looked like the World Series of Poker to me, right? When I saw all these kids like gathering in these, I was like, oh man, it's just like the World Series. I get what they're doing. I'm all for it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, there's a huge amount of growth in that, and I've loved watching it. I mean, there was a point in time, probably about 10 years ago, when you know, there was $1 million first place prize for a game called Dota 2, and that went from 1 million, and in 5 years went up to over $16 million for that first prize.
What?
Yeah, no, it's no fucking joke, man. These
is it a team game or are these individual?
No, it's a team game. But there's you know, five on each team plus like a coach and stuff like that. But I mean, this is no joke. And the incredible thing about those prize pools is that they're basically crowdfunded. You know, the company Valve that owns Steam sells passes to, you know, the tournament that's called the International. People get in-game rewards for owning the passes. And you know, a percentage of the prize pool goes to the tournament prize pool, or sorry, the percentage of the revenue collected from these passes go to the prize pool. Now, when I start to say that, is that sounding familiar?
NFTs.
Wow, what a concept!
I know, right?
You know, I didn't even think about that, but I brought up the tournament. And I started talking about how they do to fund it, and I was like, holy shit, this is NFTs in a nutshell. So there you go. It's pretty hard to believe that these things aren't going to be wholly, you know, relevant going forward. And I guess in esports, it's
when are we going to see the first virtual reality? How crazy is that going to be? Seeing all these people with their headsets, like dancing in place.
So one of the things that's going to be doable very soon, if not already, if you take a game like Rocket League, which is basically like cars in a you know, a soccer field playing, you know, rocket soccer where they fly around and whatever. There's no reason why you can't throw on a headset and sit in the stands and watch that, you know, that match go on. So I mean, you're going to see stuff like that happen, and it's really incredible. And esports betting also, you know, a lot of use cases with crypto is gambling is a massive industry as well. So be on the lookout for that. We will move on But you know what? I think there's a whole podcast here. We really got to get that secondary podcast that we talked about going. We talk about all these really good things and then just get busy. But yeah, into NFTs, World of Women Ethereum NFT follows Bored Apes to Hollywood. Prices surge, trading volume soars, and the price floor nearly doubles. It's actually gone even higher than that after signing Guy Oseary, I'm going to say, to lead the push into film, TV, and more. For those of you who are not familiar with who this guy is, he also is on representing the Bored Ape Yacht Club with all of their kind of licensing deals and all of that. He's essentially their agent. He also represents who did I mention? It was Madonna and U2. So I mean, this guy is a big player in the entertainment space. He previously led Maverick record label, which is also a big deal. He's got connections, he has influence, and he is now a big part of World of Women. So that's a pretty big deal. We saw this kind of kick off a little bit of a women NFT meta going on in NFTs right now as well. But it was interesting. I mean, I think that we're in agreement that there's something behind this artist. GaryV is obviously a big supporter of that, and we all know the influence that he has. I personally think that there was better projects they could have done here.
So Guy Oseary is largely credited with the success of Yuga Labs, right? Like what Bored Apes, obviously, on their foundation, has done everything spectacularly in regards to the quality of their NFTs, the quality of their website, the games, etc. But we all know it's about how you present this in a lens to the world, right? Like you could have the greatest fucking songs on planet Earth, but if you don't sell and present them properly, someone like Led Zeppelin's going to come along, hear you in a small club, copy all of them, and get famous because they just have the pizzazz. And this is a true story. Go check. 99% of Led Zeppelin's catalog was stolen from a small band. But I don't even fault them. The fuck was that small band doing? Okay? Led Zeppelin got out there and made those songs popular. And this is what Guy Oseary did for Bored Apes. And all I could say is, with the ire and the hate that I had for the art of Bored Apes and seeing them at an 80 floor now, I could only imagine World of Women is going to a 200 floor here in the next month, because boy, do I find this art simple, unimpressive, and not representative of the NFT market as a whole. Good luck with these. I think they're going much higher. You can't escape not only the pump, but the virtue signaling, and World of Women is going to moon even harder than it already has.
Yeah. I was going to say already harder than it has. I'm going to pull it up on OpenSea right now, but I did have it kind of queued up on WGMI. It is, I hit women and weapons, sorry. It has gone from last week a 2.994, so the 3 ETH floor, up to 7.95 right now. So we are almost tripled in price, and that is a big floor. So it is marching firmly towards that 10 ETH floor, and I wouldn't have called that one to be the next one to cross the 10 ETH. So we'll see how long it lasts for. I gotta believe that there's a lot of people that took positions in this early that are going to start taking big profits from it. But you know what? I don't hate to see it. I wish nothing but the best for them, and anything that kind of fucking rugged by OpenSea again. Anything that moves the NFT space into the wider scope of the world is good in my eyes. If you're looking at the article and following along, we also see Reese Witherspoon and Eva Longoria having them as their profile pictures on Twitter and tweeting about it too. Right? Those are also really big names in the entertainment space. So I have a hard time believing that this project's going to go down much further than it is, but I'd be watching it. And if you were in on this early or holding it, like, wow, kudos to you.
My only supposition here is that the artist is known, because I don't get it otherwise. But.
No, that's fair. I mean, you know what? There's a handful of projects that I think we could probably look at and say I don't really get it, and then there's a handful of projects that we like that I think people could say I don't really get it, and then there's everybody that's not in NFTs that look at all of them and say I don't really get it. So, we're all just trying to make our way in this world for sure.
The world of women.
It's their world. We're just living in it.
I'm all for that, by the way.
No, yeah, it's fine. I'm not. That wasn't a begrudging statement. Let's move
my
on.
mama's a woman.
Is she watching today?
I don't know, because I no longer can see the goddamn audience. So let's not even go into that subject.
Tell her to throw her GM up in the chat.
I will. Hi, Mom.
Let's talk fees. Fees.WTF. WTF basically sums up yesterday for me.
Wow, you did a lot last year. 761.
Yeah,
Impressive.
this is not mine, but I have to say that because if my wife is watching, she's gonna lose her mind. You spent how much on what? No, this is absolutely not mine. Great news though, none of them failed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, perfect. So as we mentioned earlier in the show, WTF token going on a little bit of a run. It's settling down at 15 cents right now. We will see where that stops. But essentially, the long and short of this was WTF, Fees.WTF, which was this fun little site that popped up a couple months ago telling you the absurd amount of money that you've spent on gas and the obscene amount of money that it has cost you when it has failed. Did a token. They seem to have a suite of tools at their disposal that they are rewarding people for staking with. They dropped an NFT that was incredibly underwhelming, if I'm being honest with you, that showed up in my wallet. I minted it yesterday. I should have pulled that up. But basically, it's just this screen, this information done in an NFT form, which nobody is going to want to buy from you unless it's like that pranksy one where it's like you spent $25 million on gas this year. This was a shit show, to say the least. You had to enable your wallet by spending 0.01, so you actually did have to like buy something. Maybe that seems like a small amount, but you also had to pay gas on it. That was being divvied up between referral links and the team. It was speculated that the team was using that to put it into the liquidity pool, which they either didn't do or didn't do in time. The claim went down at 7 p.m. Gas went absolutely nuts. I made the mistake of claiming my WTF tokens and my WTF NFT, a lot of acronyms going on there. And I hit the gas, and when it showed up in my wallet, I was 0.27 ETH poorer, which stung just a little bit considering this was a free airdrop. So that's a lesson learned, but that's on me. That's not me begrudging them. I don't know why I didn't just let it chill out. But the action on the secondary market was immediately ridiculous. So the liquidity pool, people were trying to put it in. It was immediately getting eaten up by bots. The Mev bot was going to town on this, and I don't know. Did you hear how much he ended up making? I heard it was in like the hundreds of ETH.
No, I mean it was really insane. In fact, I'm watching Looks right now, and there is a very clever bot that spikes buys over 100 ETH. So we just saw a buy for 220 ETH. It caused another robot to jump in and buy 7 ETH worth. And then the first robot quickly sells the 220 plus the extra and the extra ETH they make doing it. And they just did it again. They just plumped out a 121 ETH order. Someone bought 10 ETH. They sold 122 instantly right after that person bought.
I
so
just realized mine wasn't refreshing. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are a few of these bots that are just having a field day in these low liquid, inefficient markets, and
yeah,
it was really on the team yesterday. If you don't see that liquidity pool enough initially, this is what happens, and it's a self-feeding feedback loop, right? Mechanism or whatever that people see this, they keep draining the liquidity pool. You can never really get ahead of it. And by the time the team actually funded the liquidity pool properly, there was already so much FUD out there. I guess, like you said, it's sitting between 10 and 15 cents now. And I think a lot of people while they were expecting it to be under $1, we're looking more for the 50 to 60 cents range had this been a successful launch. It really, the problem, it felt a lot closer to that gas drop that we saw instead of SOS. And we did mention this yesterday. It's why I didn't feel like extreme impetus to claim this quickly, though now it does seem like I could claim it and get away with a small profit if I wanted to. A lot of times patience with these things is rewarded, but we know that often the best play is to claim and stake immediately, whether it's in the LP or in their contract, because right now LooksRare is sitting at a 1,000% APR, which is very juicy, but it was originally about 2 million %. So if you had gotten in there in the first hour, you were really, really banking until other people joined that as well. So, you know, a lot of people like to get very fast with the trigger finger, claim these, and then try to either insta stake or put it in the LP. And yeah, they really botched this launch. So here's one thing I will say. Okay, one of the greatest meme reversion opportunities in all of crypto is the FUD reversion, like the FUD play. Like if everybody decides something is dead or something is over or it's not going to work, they all sell, and then you come in the next morning and it's sitting at like 15 cents, right? It's like, well, there's nobody left to sell right now. Like everyone is they've capitulated. This thing is dead, yet it's still sitting there, right? Why is it still sitting there with any value? Whether it goes to zero or not, you can see these things like rallying 300%. People FOMO in, it doubles again, and then it goes to zero. So I don't think hope is lost, but as far as a fundamental play, man, I couldn't be more bullish on Looks. I want to put more money in there, even though it's like 400% from where I started my position. Whereas, you know, WTF, I'm looking to quickly rob that LP as fast as I can and get away with a profit. So.
Well, I think the thing about Looks, and we've kind of talked about this on a bunch of other shows, so we won't be, beat this to death again, is that, like, again, it's a working product, but you and I have been staked since, the first few hours of this. My wallet's not connected to this one. To say that we've been reaping the benefits of doing so has been an understatement. Just to outline again, I basically doubled my position for a half an ETH, right? So I'm just going to say that my position was 1 ETH because I could have sold it at that amount or whatever. It's been staked for almost 4 days now, and just going to pull my own up off screen. And in that time, of the 1,600 that I had staked or just over, it's compounded an extra 124 look tokens, and I've got 0.08 in WETH sitting in my wallet ready to be claimed, and I'm not even touching that. Like 0.02 of ETH a day just for that free drop and an investment of a half ETH is just like win. And I think that there's so many people that have this staked that have no intention of pulling this out. And as you said, the use case is so apparent in there, and it seems to be working, that it just feels so juicy to just want to add more in there. Like it just seems to make sense. And it's, there's this tangible result already in just 4 days where, I'm getting to the point where I can almost claim 0.1 in WETH and then, spend that on an NFT or like pull that out and make a couple car payments with it or something. It just works. I suspect during all of this, while it was going down, yesterday, the APR was sitting at like 600% on Look. I do think a lot of people unstaked sold their Look token. As we can see, it did have a pretty big sharp drop, and it kind of finally exited that channel it was trading in. I think a lot of it flowed into WTF as people were trying to trade on it and whatnot. And now we're starting to see a jump back up as, people are probably having the same idea that we are while we're talking about it, that this is just a good product. So I'm very much looking forward to just setting that and leaving it. I'm actually kind of trying to think of a system in my mind where I'm just going to start rolling NFT trading profits into Look, like just allocating maybe 10 or 15 or 20% of the profits that I make on anything that I trade and just buying Look with it regardless of the price.
I mean, what's the bear case here? Like, and I'm not saying that to be.
I know.
No, and I'm not saying it to be cheeky. I'm saying it because we're investors here. We're trying to analyze things, and it's like what could go wrong? I suppose that like the volume dries up maybe, and the UX never gets improved. Like this is not a usable user interface right now. People are excited about it because of the interest that they're accumulating. So certainly a working product is necessary for this to happen long term. I think that's like a given. I don't, this is not something I'm worried about whether they're going to improve the UI. It's just it is what people do when they make a product. You're constantly iterating it. I don't understand what the bear case is. I expect a large hedge fund VC firm or somebody to look at this and say, hey, we got to make a play towards this. We couldn't get in on the last OpenSea round. Well, why don't we why don't we invest in this? I expect it to happen. I don't know. Very bullish here.
Totally agree. I guess my only if I'm trying to think of worst case scenario is that somehow the founders and the creators of this get spooked by some serious regulatory issues. I would
just hope they're not in America. I mean that's the main.
That's it, right? I just that is the one issue, especially if VCs or the other platform that we tend to use on a daily basis starts to want to try and play dirty. They're a $15 billion valuation and trying to go public. You got to believe that they absolutely know what Looks is. They absolutely understand the ramifications of this thing picking up steam. Yeah, there's going to be some lobbying going on.
There's some calls to Washington over the last few days, from Andreessen Horowitz, I promise.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm not even trying to be conspiracy theory.
No,
they have a big bag to protect here, and this is scary. This is a scary proposition for them for sure.
Because there's no response. There's no response for OpenSea here. They literally they're hamstrung by the fact that they cannot do a token. That's what's so scary is that there is no response for OpenSea.
If OpenSea wants to play hardball here, they have to lower their fees to minimum 1.5% or maximum 1.5%. And start some kind of loyalty program for traders. It's the only thing that they can do. And so if you say you drop it down by 1%, trading fee, that's 40% of their revenue is going to be cut out, and then you give another 0.5% to back to the traders. Now you're talking about 60% of their revenue cut out. Those VC firms not going to be thrilled with that.
No, but hey, it's better than Chapter 11, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Getting 40% of something is a lot better than getting 100% of zero. It just the way that is. But I do think that they do have to take some kind of dramatic action, especially with how much their platform is down. We said it the other day with the Catbricks launch. The immediate knee-jerk reaction was OpenSea down, LooksRare up, let's go there. And it only takes some time for them to improve their UI, improve the experience, and then people start using it and they start seeing some of these rewards pop into their wallet and they go, oh, okay, let's there's lots of incentive there. So interesting topic. WTF, absolute shit show. Again, I'm really curious as to what other people are doing here. So if you're watching and in the chat, please type something up. I'll pull it up on screen, and I want to hear from you guys and see where everybody else is at. For me personally, I think I have a sunk cost fallacy, and I've already dumped enough money into this. I'm probably just going to hold it and hope that I can turn some kind of miraculous small profit or even break even out of it.
And that's really not a bad way to approach these things. There's no reason to take a loss on something in crypto in the set. If you don't need, obviously, if you need the liquidity, no question. But there's no reason to take a loss on something like this when, again, these FUD reversions, they happen all the time. You might as well just wait, forget about it, and hope you see it, pop up on Twitter one day.
Yeah, definitely. Some interesting stuff popped up on the whale watching feed overnight in the Moon Lounge there. First thing that stood out to me was actually the most recent thing. GaryV is buying more CryptoSkulls. this also falls into the WTF category. I guess this is pure historical play. I don't have much color on CryptoSkulls and why GaryV likes them so much, but this was at 8:30 in the morning, so I'm assuming he hasn't hit the wine yet. But yeah, this thing continues to be strong. But you know, we had an interesting conversation about this, and it wasn't really regarding CryptoSkulls, but that you know, maybe the historical plays are going to start coming back into fruition, and you know, people are going to find these things at depressed prices. Artblocks is a great example of that. You know, we're pretty bullish on BGANs. That's a great example of that. And then there's probably a bunch of other stuff. You know, you're great at finding these too. What are you looking at? What are you thinking about this historical play coming up? It seems to be, as you mentioned before, once or twice a year we get a really strong push towards these old school projects.
So why do these things happen, and why do they pump so hard? Well, you know, when CryptoSkulls came out, there were not a lot of PFP projects. Hell, when BGANs came out, there were not a lot of PFP projects. This is a relatively new phenomenon based on Bored Ape Yacht Club and the success they've seen, and everybody's saying, hey, we should give that a try, right? So when these historic projects pump, it's often because the people buying back then, these are the OGs that you know and love today, all right? And all of a sudden, when someone tries to pump the shit in their hidden folder, hell, they're willing to go out there and get behind it. So I saw a ton of OGs change their PFPs to CryptoSkulls over the last couple of days. Like, yeah, CryptoSkulls, let's go. I remember those, blah, 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 blah. But so that's what I think is happening with CryptoSkulls. The art is not particularly interesting. I'm not sure the team is around or doing anything. Obviously, it's trading on a historic premium. And when you have the marketing power of every influencer in NFTs behind you, you get this type of cook. So historic projects, what do we look for, right? Well, 2018, 2019, 2020, there were a lot of projects that came out. Towards the end of the summer, we actually saw a huge cycle in these projects as things like block cities and crypto crystals and all these dead and forgotten projects actually
CryptoArte had a moment.
CryptoArte, which didn't even mint out until last August. This was a project that was forgotten because it had just not been adopted by whales for specific reasons, like it wasn't fully on chain, blah 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 blah. Well, GaryV discovered it at the end of last summer, and those went from like 0.1 all the way up to 0.75. They pulled back since then as people have moved on to the new mint phase, but that's another example of a historic. It is the first generative project, believe it or not. The problem is it wasn't fully on chain. So it doesn't quite get the premium that something like Autoglyphs does, which is recognized as the first on-chain generative project. But you know, this is a phase the market goes into a few times a year, and it's because we see certain cycles play out, right? First, you have the bear market. People build during it. The builders that build during the bear market tend to be passionate and dedicated, so you get a lot of good projects that tend to launch right at the beginning of a bear market ending. And they tend to launch at very low prices because good project managers adjust for reality and they launch into what they think will sell out. And we just saw this with, you know, Alien Friends and Little Lemon Friends, two of the higher quality projects to launch all year that launched at a perfect time at a perfect price. Now that's going to start to change as we saw a bunch of low effort junk say, hey, people are minting everything at 0.2. Anyone will take a shot at 0.02. Let's just mint at that price. Now you're going to see projects that are actually quality say, hey, we need some way to distinguish ourselves from pastel apes and, you know, dudes. So we need to price a little higher. We need to have a story. We need to have a little buildup. Now, this is going to keep going on until we get to the mecha phase of the cycle, when really high quality projects decide they should start pricing at 0.1, 0.2, pull as much money forward as possible. This is what we do, blah, 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 blah. That is when you'll start to see the historic phase play out again. And it's how the market works. And I'm on the lookout for it already. As we could see, the new minting phase stopped on Saturday and Sunday. Everything new that was minting has cooled off, and the things that are popping are there in a very specific meta, like women or Asia, or it's the historic stuff as people look to the secondary for what, quote unquote quality, and history is quality, whether the underlying art is quality or not. So being aware of these cycles and phases and rotating accordingly can really increase your EV over the year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's really what all these markets are about, is just chasing the puck around, as you said, right? Mm-hmm. And it's where the money flows into. People get bored with one thing, or people start to push the limits of the mint process. Prices start to get a little bit high, and people start to reject the shenanigans that go on, and they start to spend their money elsewhere because it's so ingrained in a trader's mind to just keep moving and just keep finding new opportunities, that hive mind mentality of the NFT world starts to shift into different places. And all it takes is, a really successful, unique drop to kickstart a different meta, a big name to just start sweeping the floor of like a Fidenza, or well, maybe Fidenza's got most people priced out, but you know what I mean? Like I had Apparitions. Apes? I had Apparitions pulled up earlier. Apes went through it. Yeah, exactly. Go.
No,
yeah.
I was going to say Apes flipped Fidenza. I didn't realize that. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Anyone out there who owns a Bored Ape and doesn't sell it right now, buy one Fidenza and 50 lemons, you're dead to me. I don't know what you're doing out there. I'm confused.
That's a good would you rather, one Fidenza or
one Fidenza and 50 lemons, or a Bored Ape? You tell me. Or hell, 10 species. 10 species. No, let's say 12 species and a Fidenza. Would you take 12 species and a Fidenza over an ape?
Am I looking for upside, or am I looking for
or you want to be cool?
No, you know what? I mean, okay, if it's my current situation and right now you're holding a gun to my head and saying you have to spend this money on one or the other, and then after which you can do whatever you want with it, I would probably take the Fidenza and the species, just to like, at least you could liquidate species at certain intervals, right? You have one Bored Ape, you either hold or you sell, and it creates that very difficult dilemma that a lot of Bored Ape holders, especially the ones early on that have seen this become a large portion of their wealth, face, right? Do you take the money, or do you keep the ape? Like it's a hard decision. Now, if it's long-term
Fidenzas and apes will both have a $1 million floor. And I don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year, but Fidenzas will never crash back down to 20 ETH. Apes will eventually.
Interesting. I don't think apes are seeing a 20 ETH floor again. Unless we see a like really, really extended depressed bear market, like, and I'm talking about like months and months and months, in which case like that would be the same situation where you're going to see species at like 0.1, or like, alien friends are going back down to 0.2 or something like that.
When Ethereum hits $10,000 in the next 2 years, Bored Apes will go to 30 ETH. Timestamp it, save the recording.
Do you think that's a function of the outside money coming in, needing to spend that to buy Bored Apes in like USD denominated terms?
Well, I just think that 2023 is going to be a tough year for NFTs. I think people are going to rotate back into coins, and that's going to be combined with just a massive PFP bubble that we're going to blow this year. So I just think that it'll be a perfect storm in 2023 for, while I don't think it'll be a multi-year bear market, I could see 2023 being pretty tough. Again, we're going out pretty far and extrapolating right now. So it's like, it's so much stuff is going to happen that's probably going to change my thesis. There's no reason going out that far right now.
Fair enough. Yeah. One big announcement can move the market in an incredibly different direction.
Yeah,
absolutely. Actually, great segue into, China looking at legalizing NFTs. There's
news.
a lot of lack of clarity going on in this kind of announcement, I guess, if you want to call it that. The speculation is that the legalization of them is going to be for NFTs based in China and traded within China, and maybe like Bored Apes aren't going to have access to that, but that is a huge market that could come online. Obviously they have very anti-crypto regulations going on where, you really aren't buying Bitcoin in China anymore, or definitely not mining. But it seems to be every month they flip-flop on it. But if NFTs are exempt from the traditional crypto laws and, become tradable and ownable, there's the potential that some projects that kind of fit into that category are going to do really well. There's, I guess, been a little bit of speculation that Monfters kind of fit into that in some way, shape, or form. I find it interesting that when you go to their website that I have pulled up here right now is, unfortunately, due to Chinese government regulations, basically you have to just verify that you're not currently a resident of China. You have to click it to confirm to go into their website. It looks like there's some kind of trading platform kind of going on here. And this ended up being a pretty good cook in Alphamint too yesterday. I saw a lot of people being able to go after them. I don't remember what the mint price was. I think it was 0.1, but they're sitting at about a 0.4 floor right now. Lots of volume traded on them, almost 2,000 ETH already. Kind of have mixed feelings about them. Some of them look pretty good. The art style doesn't float my boat personally, but that doesn't mean that it's not well done.
These are the Bored Apes of Asia, art too. I was told last night in the DGen chat.
Oh, it is? You couldn't have told me that before the price went up by 30%?
Sorry, yeah, my bad. No, in fact, these were actually quickly on their way to 80 ETH last night until a few of our DGen dojo members pointed out that they flipped lemons. That was the Pico top. Since then, they have fallen to 0.37, and I don't expect them to ever get above lemon price again.
So you basically what you're saying is that the Bored Apes of Asia is never going to be more valuable than the little lemon friends in free.
What I'm saying is the Bayak of Asia is Bayak.
Okay. No, that's fair. It's like the
Bored Ape Yacht Club. Yes, the Bored Ape Yacht Club of Asia is the Bored Ape Yacht Club, you knuckleheads. Think about it for a second.
No, I mean, it's a great point because the whole idea of this world that we exist in online is that it's like a nationless state, right?
Bored Ape Yacht Club of Asia.
I didn't quite realize that you were going the satire route when you started saying that. So.
Well, look at these things.
You
they
whooshed me,
satire.
man.
They scream satire.
Yeah, I mean, if we actually want to like go into some kind of breakdown, I mean, look at this one line here of floor Monfters. Also, the name. What in the NFT are you thinking about naming it that? I mean, maybe that's the meme thing, right? It's like that. Do you remember
it's
Seaspiracy?
Funny to type. It's hard to say.
Remember that documentary Seaspiracy? And it was on Netflix. It was about overfishing and
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, "What are you doing? Like, you missed the perfect opportunity to call it conspiracy and then spelled the SEA at the end rather than the CY." Mm-hmm. But like it gained so much memeability from not taking the obvious answer or obvious name conspiracy and naming it Seaspiracy, that like it was just this like massive like thing that happened, right? So I mean there are tactics in naming it, and I hate saying it, Monfters is not a great name, but it seems to be doing the trick. 0.4 ETH floor. Traded. Great ownership distribution actually of 8,000.
They were free.
Oh fuck, were they? Oh, I must be getting a different.
That's why there's such great. That's why there's such great ownership right now. The first few of them are free. I'll also point out the supply is 20% less than Little Lemon Friends.
You can look for any reason you want. That's fine. Don't worry about the Lemon Friends, man. They're gonna be okay.
I'm not worried about that. I am quick. I am trying to get Hologram to type a comment into the chat, and no matter what I do, I can't get him to do something. Like, what do I have to say? What do I have to do? I'm kidding. I'm glad this was a hell of a minute? Cook. No, I need a day.
Yeah, hell of a cook for sure. So
Whoa!
yeah, I mean, what?
LooksRare APR just fell to 432%. Who just deposited all their looks?
There's a graphical bug there that kind of flips some stuff. I think. I don't know. I'll refresh it too. Is this what you're doing over there? Is this why you don't have your camera on? Like you're just staring at the LooksRare chart the entire? No, I'm still getting almost 1100 APR. So
no, I'm still aping cat bricks, which are going at 2E.
All right, let's talk about cat bricks. You want to talk about cat
sure.
bricks? Cat bricks
2E.
is coming up today. Minted yesterday. That's not true. 2 days ago. Sorry, it's Friday. Yeah, Wednesday. They minted on Wednesday. This is so bizarre to me. I have such I don't even know how to say it. I am very convinced that there's something here. I am very surprised that the floor remains at 0.12, which is, 0.14. We're getting some movement here, which is, a little bit over mint price. I managed to mint 4 on the public somehow, paid 0.09 each with the gas involved. It was a 0.08 mint. And a lot of times pre-reveal, you see these really start to take a run up. They're doing a 48-hour pre-reveal period. So I think we're looking at coming online at about 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern today. That should be the reveal time if all goes well. I actually really like the 48 hours. 48 hours seems very comfortable to allow for redistribution, allow a little bit of hype to lead up to the project, to the reveal and get it going. I think anything longer than that is too long, but for some reason 48 hours seems to always do really well for projects. But yeah, I kept buying some on the secondary. I'm up to 10 of these now. And this just, like, as we said yesterday, it checks so many boxes. You've got cool cats, you've got cute, you've got Lego, which we've already established. Lego, the brand, cannot come after them for the likeness of their figures. 3D has been in the meta very, very strongly and done really, really well. And I'm sitting here looking at these things pre-reveal for, barely 40%, 50% over mint price. And I'm just thinking, like, why? The other thing, too, that is surprising me is normally with projects like this or projects like anything that mint out really quickly and have something behind them, you normally see somebody on the whale watching start to buy up some of these things. I haven't personally seen anybody. Correct me if I'm wrong. I either think this is going one of two ways. One, maybe all these metas that I'm saying the boxes are being checked on are just over, and then we've already reached the top on all of them, and CapBricks is the market's rejection, or some of these whales have been accumulating them on a non-wallet. This is purely speculation on my part. I am just very surprised that we haven't seen anybody really on their public wallets or their doxed wallets take any kind of position on these. So I think that this is like it's either nothing or it's something big. I don't know how else to say it.
I am done playing coy with these cat bricks. I've talked about them. I've been relatively cautious over the last few days. It makes no sense to me. I'm going to say it right now. The market is wrong. These deserve to go to 1 ETH. I think that if these do not, here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to reveal. I think they'll fall quickly 30 to 40%. And then I think within a few minutes, they're going to start ramping back up. And we're going to see them run to 0.4 or 0.5 today. I think that if these do not, the market, then we are firmly in a quote unquote bear market low vol period. Yeah. We've obviously seen it across other floors already, as most of the things that were just, going parabolic on Saturday have pulled back 50% or more. I think that the market is missing these. There's a blind spot here. I think these are going to be overwhelmingly beautiful at the commons on the floor. And I think these are going to be one of those rare cooks after reveal. I'm buying more. I bought another one while on the show here. I love them. I'm done being coy. Cat bricks to the moon.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I just jumped into their Discord while we were talking because I saw an announcement there, and it looks like Shamdu, love him or hate him, just jumped into the Discord there too. So maybe that's something he's going to start jumping on board with. But like I said, I'm so shocked that there hasn't been more of a presence. We see some people just ape into, like we just talked about GaryV and CryptoSkulls, right? And like, sure, there's the historical element of it, but he just continues to spend $50,000, $40,000 on these CryptoSkulls. And this project has gotten no attention from anybody. So yeah, I mean, every time that floor started to dip to like 0.1 yesterday, and thankfully, I guess the one benefit to gas being slightly higher is that the floors start to depress a little bit, and you can pick these up. You do have to pay the gas for it, but yeah, I mean, I've accumulated 10 of these, and like I'm actually I'm gonna pick this hill to die on in the very short term. I think that if the market rejects this project, we're going to see a shift into something else, and that's literally not because I'm holding it. I am taking my stance on it because that's what I believe where we are in this meta.
And I will say this: Uncle Free has been beaten by the market handily this week. So if he's wrong here, I would not. I am not going to be surprised if I'm wrong here. But here's the bear case on the bricks. There's obviously the Lego angle, though I think that's mostly been put to bed. We have been told by numerous sources that they no longer have the patent on the figure, the way that the figure looks currently. That ended in 1993. And the other bear case here is this is not an official Cool Cats derivative. And I don't mean official as put out by the team, but there are certain things that come out of their Discord that is supported by the community, like Lemons is a great example. Letters by Vinny Hager is a great example. I've talked to quite a few Cool Cats who I know personally over the last few days, and half of them either didn't know about the project or didn't know what to make of it. So there's your bear case, but that could also be the bull case, as maybe Cool Cats go, whoa, look at these things. Wow, these look great. I got to have me one of these. So we'll see. But I think those are the two issues that would worry me as a holder, but I am firmly on the side of bullishness here, and I think that these are going to impress. And don't forget, there's more to this roadmap here. I think these are going to moon on the art. Let's see if they can execute this ambitious roadmap too. This could really be a fun little project.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking at these sneak peeks that they have, right? They'll fit nicely in a PFP circle. They're not overly detailed to the point where like you're going to have a lot of the detail lost. I mean, Legos are simple by design. I think that there's a boatload of variety that they can have with the traits. There's tons of hats, facial expressions. I'm sure there's, maybe can do some kind of masks or something, the body style and all of that stuff. But, I'm sure that there's going to be some kind of like 3D animators or 3D artists that will tell me that this is all very easy. But I'm looking at it and there is lots of like subtle detail. Like these, the hat here isn't just like a flat plastic texture. There's some wear on it. There's, the imperfections in it and the texture that like Lego would kind of use on it. There's like the little seams on it. On their arms and stuff like that, where the molding of the plastic could actually go. Like they've taken the time and the care to implement these details, and taking time and care just shows to me that there's effort behind this project. Right? This isn't a quick cash grab. It's not just like let's take Lego and let's take Cool Cats, mash them together and be done with it, and we'll collect our ETH. That somebody has spent some time on this, and I'm with you. I don't know why that this has been slept on so much. It does seem to be picking up some steam. Maybe they did launch at a very bad time into this kind of high gas part. Maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe people.
I think it's a function of the market.
Yeah, maybe people don't want to pay that extra 0.03 in gas for something that's 0.12 or something. I get it. I get all of that. I have to believe there's something under the surface here, and that's the stance I'm taking. Let's really quickly look at Starcatchers as a project that we've jumped into the Discord too. There was a lot of hype about getting into the Discord, and then it was promptly closed. Seeing some sneak peeks come out of this. This is a great looking project. The launch date is TBA. So we don't have a ton of color on what's actually going to be taking place with this project. I've said project like 18 times, so I apologize for that. But I'm loving the look of this. If you can get into the Discord, if they reopen it, I think that's going to be a big win. Keep your eye out for this one.
Yeah, I just want everyone to go follow the Twitter and be on top of it, because it's a closed Discord. It's very hype. They are dripping people in. And, you know, I don't know how to quantify it, but I can look at certain art and tell you it has the X factor, and this has the X factor. It's simple. It's doodle-esque. I think these are going to smash. I'm in that Discord. The moderator there is a known friend. I don't even want to say his name because it's such an in-demand project right now. I don't feel like having him tagged and mobbed. But yeah, please go follow that Twitter. Keep an eye out for it. And Alphamint may have some things and announcements regarding Starcatchers soon. So definitely stay tuned and follow that Twitter. I love this art. I think it has the look, man.
Yeah, there is definite je ne sais quoi there. The color palette's really good. It's a little unique to it. I love the fact that they're using this like blue for the outlines. It's almost kind of like crayon style. Tons that they could do about it. The jackets look great. The backgrounds even look really good. Simple. I'm getting almost like a species vibe from it, right?
Oh yeah,
in their own way. Like it's unique enough to not be
it's like
species, but
it's like Doodles. It's like Doodles, Species, and Lemons had a baby. It has like, it almost has elements of all three, which I'm digging a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I could see it actually.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. We don't have much for you on that. Like it's not like it's minting tomorrow or anything like that I know of. But it's been on everybody's radar, and it's definitely one you should take a look at.
Yeah, I have a folder of high profile upcoming mints that I'm really trying to work the whitelist on, and this is one of them, you know, along with Raid Party and Tasty Bones.
Oh, Tasty Bones. Yeah, I gotta take a look. I haven't even looked at that one.
That's another closed Discord.
Okay, so I'm going to get the restream invite link into the AM show chat for the Moon Loungers. If you want to come up and join us and talk for a little bit, we're going to try and keep the show a little bit shorter than the previous ones that we've had. We've been running up to 2 hours as of yesterday, so no issues with that. I love doing it, but just want to try and get that going a little bit sooner. In the meantime, while we wait for people, I've got a couple other quick things that I saw pop up. One of the more ridiculous things, I think, was this Irene DAO. This happened like in the middle of the night. It was a free mint. Was it free mint? It's taken me so much to try and get any kind of color on this. It was a 0.334 floor. It was up to 0.4 earlier. And the tagline is sincerity, integrity, meaning, and purpose. I have no idea what that means. But
it's an acronym for simp.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
How many of these were purchased? I don't know. This is a funny project. This is from like Irene Zhao. I don't think she was actually a part of the project. She said she woke up to find out that she had a DAO in her name and 123,000 followers. So this is bizarre. There's no website to look at. Yeah, go ahead.
I've never heard of this person. I'm assuming she's an influencer in a country that I don't live in, and somebody built a DAO around this person and their looks. And given that it is called the Simp DAO, or I guess it's called Irene DAO, but their logo is Simp, and it says creator economy or whatever their tagline is. This is for creators, right? This reeks to me of an OnlyFans clone. We know that everybody wants to take everything that's on Web 2 and Web 3ify it. And maybe this is an attempt at that. I'm not sure what else they would be implying here. I'm just trying to read into the tea leaves. But if it did mint for free, this seems to be another cook.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back up into the whale watching thing where I found it and see mint. Yeah, it looked like it was a free mint 0.00. Vopa.
I have to agree with Ashtray.
Sneaky.
The artwork here is phenomenal. I have to say I'm taken by it.
Yeah, there's it's pretty funny, but that was that was interesting. Actually, looking on her Twitter, big advocate for decentralized social networks. I've never heard of any of those existing, so we're going to move on from there.
All right then.
If anybody actually has like, I don't know how much more you can add on to this, but if you know anything about this project, I'm more than interested. But
good night, Irene. I used to say that if you knew old FMC from traditional markets, that was my tagline when things were going down, when the market would fall 300 points in a day. If you saw old FMC say good night, Irene, you sold everything in your portfolio. So there's my attachment to Irene.
Why don't you just start saying that in crypto too?
I should. Isn't it such a good saying?
Good night, Irene Dow.
Oh, good night, Irene. Ooh, I like it. I like it.
There you go.
We're the centralized option.
Shroomhead Josh, what's going on, man?
GM, everyone. How y'all doing this morning?
Good morrow to you.
How are you?
Oh, doing well. Enjoying watching everything happen. I'm very bullish on the cat bricks. Brick cats? Cat bricks?
Thank you.
The name sucks, man.
Yeah.
As we said with Monfters, maybe that's the joke.
They should have just gone with Lego cats. Fuck it.
Yeah, go all in.
Or they should have put 2 G's, like Lego cats.
Let's go.
Right? Like that's what the kids say.
Lego, yeah. Lego. Okay.
They need the marketing arm of Alphamint on their side.
Could be.
Most definitely.
Josh, you have some of these, right?
Yes, and I actually picked up a few more this morning.
It just seems so easy, right?
Damn it, you! I'm buying another right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean the price just seems absurd right now. I mean, like I can't imagine they're not going to go up more. And yeah, they're a derivative project, but they're so unique. I mean, like it's not like we see so many derivatives out there. It reminds me a little bit of the Toy Moris a little bit, right? Like it's almost its own thing.
Definitely my 2 favorite 3D projects that I have seen. Toy Moris and Lego Cats. Just like you said, they're derivatives, but they are the last thing you would ever tag as low effort. These are high effort, cared for passion projects, and it comes through in the art. Yeah,
100%. I don't know. I feel pretty good about them.
Are you feeling this as like a long hold, or is this something that you're gonna take an exit on if it does really well? Like, and you don't have to tell me. I'm just curious.
No, yeah. No, I mean, this is one of those ones where I suspect if it pumps pretty hard, I will probably let go of a few of them just to cover whatever I spent on getting them and get a little bit more liquidity in the pool. But this is one of those ones where I'm gonna have some I hold on to no matter what. It's kind of like. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to compare it to lemons. With lemons, I've had a hard time letting go of anything. But
yeah,
it's something cool that I think has some longer potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I feel the same way.
Yeah. That's essentially why I ended up getting to 10 as well. I didn't want to be faced with the decision at having 4. To sell 2 to kind of break even to cover my costs with a small profit or whatever, and then just be left with 2, because now 2 is hard to decide what you want to do on the next pump, or if there is a next pump. Say these get to 1.5 ETH, like should you peel one off? Do you peel both of them off, or does this a project like Alien Friends where it just continues straight to 6 ETH, right?
This is my issue. I have 1 Alien Friends left. It might as well be worth 0 because I'm never selling it. So who cares if it goes to 100? Well, I'm selling it if it goes.
No, yeah. So I mean, my goal is to be able to kind of scale out of it as this thing kind of, develops. Again, if it develops, and if it doesn't, then I think we're going to see a shift in the NFT meta. Personally, maybe 3D projects aren't quite as in vogue as they have been, but yeah, I mean, that's the important thing about keeping some liquidity around is to be able to take position sizes on things that you actually have quite a bit of conviction in. And I'm happy to have finally done that, if I'm being honest with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That gets into a topic that I've wanted to ask you guys about before, which is just kind of like this strategy going into minting, right? Like a lot of people just seem to take the sort of degen always max mint approach on so many of these projects. And of course, everything's different. Each one is its own, unique kind of situation. But I don't know if you guys could give some structure to how you think about how many pieces you mint and how that relates to kind of your strategy long term. I mean, R2, you were just talking about that a little bit in terms of, if you have 4 of them and you peel off a couple of them early on, there's only 2 left, then what do you do if there's another pump? But if you guys have any other thoughts on that, I'd be interested in hearing them.
Yeah, so dependent on your liquidity situation, right? Like I would never, and it also is dependent on how many they're letting you mint and how quickly you can, mint on multiple kind of wallets or whatever. With the cap bricks, you probably would have had to mint with a bot to use several wallets to get it in that fast. But yeah, I mean, if I was on low liquidity, Jesus Christ, man.
ripping that thing.
But I am giving the people.
I'm about to cough for you. Holy fuck.
This man has lungs of iron.
That would be.
I was talking for like 30 seconds, and the entire time it was just this like bubbling sound in the background.
Yes. So the answer is yes, Vlad.
I don't even know where I was. Yeah, no. If I had used a large portion of my liquidity to mint the cats, I probably would be trying to sell 2 of them for a break even, 1 for a profit, 1 for a hold. That would be my gut. And if it went really crazy, like say it went to like 2 ETH, I would probably peel that last one off as well and just kind of walk away from the project. But as you grow your liquidity and you kind of you try to level up in the space, then you can get 10 of them, sell 6 of them for a break even and a profit, sell 2 of them for a big profit, and then long hold 2. That's kind of what I'm trying to position myself with, because inevitably you're going to partake in one of these projects that ends up being another blue chip, or the next Bored Ape, if you want to call it. That sounds corny. And if you can position yourself to still be profitable from trading a bulk of them, and then whatever happens to the other 2 or 3, or for some of these people 10 or 20 in the future, then you're in a great situation. So that's kind of working up towards that. And then there's some people who just are always eyes forward, and they'll sell all of them. They'll hit a 2 ETH floor and they'll just say, awesome, I made my money and I'm gonna wash my hands of it. So it depends on style, time horizon, risk tolerance, all of those things. But I think if you take those 2 spectrums of trading, you can find something in the middle that works really well for you.
And I want to say this because I'm the only one here who's been here for more than a year. And believe me, I am not saying that to be lauded, because given how long I've been in NFTs, I should be a lot richer than I am. So if anything, it's a knock that I've been in this industry for 3 years. But okay, most people here have not seen like a true cycle. Okay. And all I mean by this is, in order to find a CryptoPunks or a Bored Apes, and I know Bored Apes happen quicker and things are going to happen quicker as stuff unfolds, but you have to hold these things for months, sometimes even a year. And don't forget, holding something for a year, now you get that benefit of long-term capital gains tax if you live in the United States. So my advice to everybody is build your liquidity up to the point where you could always trade, but then you need to have high conviction plays. As we know, I'm very convicted in lemons, and I don't really care what happens on a daily, but I get 1,600 questions in the DGen dojo every day about lemons, but on a daily basis, I really don't care about the floor price. I might as well hide them all in my hidden folder and just wait, because when you have high, and maybe I'm wrong, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But when you have high conviction about something, you need to hold for a long time to see those 100 or those 1000x, right? And very few people who got into this in June can do that, because they've seen if you don't sell something into volume, well, you are stuck with it, right? So once you've built your liquidity up, once you have enough that you know you can trade, you need to start buying high conviction things, and hell, throw them to the hidden folder. The hidden folder isn't just for things that you don't like. It's also for things you don't want to look at, so you're not tempted to sell, right? And I think that everyone here should be looking to not just trade, but also build up enough that you could start putting things in a long-term portfolio. It's where the lion's shares of gains are made in NFTs, I promise.
I love that. And one of the things that jumps out at me, because I've made this mistake before, and I think everyone learns this eventually in the space. If you mint 2 or you mint 3 and you sell the first 1 or 2 of them and you only left with 1, you're going to end up holding that thing, speculating on the future no matter what. So you may as well not have it at all, like you were saying.
And it's such a great, like when I'm looking at things, like I'm always like, I'm either going to sell all of them or none of them, because anything in between just leaves you with a really hard decision. And it's almost easier to do that all or nothing decision. And then, hey, no one ever says you can't buy things back. And we do know in NFTs, everything likes to pull back. I mean, look at that December period when it didn't matter what it was. Cool Cats, Cryptodes, everything fell 60, 70%.
Yeah, man. Dark times.
But we persevere.
Yeah. No, I mean, free market it makes a great point. You made a great point too, Josh. It's like eventually, if you're left holding one of them, you're left speculating on what could be. So you might as well not be holding it at all. I mean, it's a great point. There are plenty of Bored Ape owners that are in that situation right now where they have one of them, and God. Do they take the $300,000? Or do they wait for it to be $1 million, if it ever is $1 million? Or do they wait? And once it's going to reach that $1 million, they can say, well, maybe this could be $2 million. I mean, the dream scenario in that regard is that you can collateralize these eventually so that you can actually have some liquidity with them. But it's not a good spot to be in. And, if you could build your liquidity up to a point where you can hold a bigger position in them, because it just doesn't work the same as crypto or stocks, where they can be fractionalized and you can constantly peel 10% out, right?
Right now there is a person with $1 million in Bored Apes in monkey JPEGs living in his parents' basement. This is the dichotomy of NFTs, right? And this is why I think over the next 2 months, you're going to see so many of these end up in the hands of celebrities, because the pressure to change your life is just going to be too much after a while.
Your mom's yelling at you like, just sell the fucking picture, man. Get out of my basement. No offense to you, Josh, if that's your situation. I apologize.
Yeah, sorry, Josh.
I wish I was.
He went awfully quiet there, and I'm just like,
I wish I was holding $1 million JPEGs living in the basement.
I wish I was in my mom's basement. Oh, the laundry, the dinners.
I know, no rent. Oh God.
My God.
Sign me up.
Oh, mine charged me rent the last time I had to be there.
All right, let's dig into this now. I'm extending the show 15 minutes.
So how do you feel about this?
All right. Hey, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. Have a great morning. And
you too, Josh. Thank you.
Let's go mint some great stuff today.
Let's do it. Cass.
Jinx. Oh, Cass. Yeah. Hi.
Jinx?
You said let's do it at the same time.
Did I?
Oh.
Cheers. Can you hear me?
Cheers, Cass. Yes. How are you? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Do we sound as handsome as usual?
Sex on YouTube. That's what you guys sound like, especially with that bong. You took piss, bros. Like you could hear you could hear yourself bubbling yourself up, getting ready.
I've wanted
to. Did you say sex on YouTube?
I said sex.
Yeah, that's a new term. SOT.
Isn't that just
SOY? Soy. Oh my God, that's soy. We're soy boys.
Soy boys. Forget Island boys. Soy boys.
I'm out of here.
This show. What? Well, Cass, it's you. There we go.
I'm back.
just a quick question.
Yes.
What are you two's play, or what NFT have you guys, both of you, have got the most conviction in, apart from Star Wolves, in the first quarter that you know of?
You want to go first, or two?
Yeah, I mean, if we're excluding like things that we did last year, like lemons, which I can guarantee you would be free markets. And
yeah, you mean upcoming mints or stuff that we own now?
No, upcoming mints, stuff that we own now too.
Yeah. No, that's what I figured you meant. Okay.
If I can sneak Cap Bricks into that conversation, that would be the current one. If it's pre-reveal, upcoming. Ooh, I mean, I'm starting to really grow into a lot of like for these Starcatchers. Invisible Friends, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get in on, but that seems like it's got something there. Raid Party, that Free Market mentioned, if there's a game that can kind of recapture the NFT Web3 gaming, that could be a really, really, really strong one. And there might be some desire for a good one after the disaster that Hunger Brains was. So I mean, that could be one to really watch out for too.
Talking about Hunger Games, I went into the Bears, the Bear Game Discord.
Yeah,
and they were literally ripping the piss of why would anyone copy our contract? What
that was the interesting point, right?
I guess we should touch on it real quick. I had a conversation with Grape Dutch yesterday. Not a long one. We had, just a little back and forth, and it wasn't contentious at all.
Was it you saying something and tagging him and then him blocking you?
No. This was in DMs on Discord.
You're a man of mystery.
No, I don't know him. This isn't like I don't know the guy. I didn't mean DMs. I opened a support ticket, and it was a private support ticket conversation in Hunger Brains, but at first it was just like their manager, and then all of a sudden Grave Dutch came in because I kept expressing concerns or whatever. And as you know, I was very emphatic on still being bullish on this project, that all the FUD was nonsense, and I was very, very wrong there. All the FUD was justified. Mr. Bean was like 100% accurate, and everything he was saying had played out exactly as he said it would. I tip my hat. And their response, they did a Twitter Spaces yesterday, which I didn't want to listen. I honestly didn't care. I had already talked to Grape earlier in the day. I knew what was going to happen, and I was over it at this point, right? I just didn't want to go in and either hear people complain or I didn't care anymore. But my general thought was, it wasn't, when you mint something, it's on you, right? The risk of minting whatever you mint is on you. Like that's the risk I take as a trader, as an investor, as somebody buying an NFT. But it's presenting me a product, okay? And if the product doesn't work, I believe that's on them. And my transactions failed when I was trying to do actions within the game. And I believe that was because of the contract that was written. And I believe that was on them. And when you look at everything that I spent on Hunger Brains, it was 1.2 ETH. And the refund they gave me equaled about 0.39 because they refunded just the mint price. So in my opinion, it should have been the other way around. I think that they should have refunded people about twice that. I think they should have given people the 0.8. The 0.4 was on us for minting, or the 1/3 of the cost was on us for minting. That was my contention. Grape was basically like, look, we spent all this money on the devs, deploying the contract, making the da-da-da-da. This was the best we could do without like really putting us in financial straits. I don't know anybody's financial situation. I don't know how much money each of these guys have. I don't really know, but it probably would have cost them twice as much as they spent to pay back in the way that I thought was right. They didn't do that. I'm not angry at the team. I don't think that they were malicious. I don't think they were being disingenuous, but I definitely don't feel like engaging in Hunger Brains if they try to bring it back, nor any future products. Could my mind be changed? Maybe. but that's kind of my conclusion here. I'm happy they did something. They tried to make it right. I don't think they did the right thing, but I took my 0.4 and it's dead to me. I'm over it.
It is a scary proposition to be in that situation though, right? Like you don't want to rug anybody. You want to make it right, and like you
I
want
feel
to be
terrible
able
for these guys.
to refund people stuff, right? But it's
these aren't bad people. They didn't try to do this to anybody, and I could just imagine the pain and embarrassment they're feeling. Right? We all love NFTs, like we love each other. We all want to get rich, but nobody is like, especially this team. They're not out there trying to like rug you, right? But at the same time, you know, I just feel bad in the sense that these guys, they are now pariahs, and it won't last. You know, everyone's reputation could be repaired, and like I said, I don't think these guys were malicious, but they must feel like pariahs right now. Like in a way, like, man, this industry I love is extremely angry at me. People are
it's
mad.
A small community at the end of the day.
It is. I mean,
you know, I don't want to say like the fact like you talking to Grape Dutch is like a thing, but like, you know, people are still very accessible, right? Like, you know, you're one degree of separation from probably getting in touch with anybody that you want to, if you push hard enough. And most of them will gladly entertain any kind of conversation because, you know, they hold big bags too, and it's in their interest to, you know, help the space along rather than just be these people on the, you know, behind their gates and in their castles, just, you know, overseeing the NFT space, right? That was one of the few really great things about BitClout, was that you had all of these people from different walks of life, some of them very influential, some of them very successful, and, you know, being in a call with the founder of FanDuel like blew my mind, you know? Like that's that was something that, like, before that situation happened, and, you know, you just don't think that you can you bump shoulders with these people. But the NFT space is a lot like that too, because it just really isn't that big yet.
Another thing I would say,
and it will be.
Another thing I would say, in regards to the whole Hunger Brains thing, before I ask FMC what's his Q1 tip of the
yes.
Stopped that really well. We're like, well, let me tell you about Hunger Brains. What is exactly not my conviction play of the year.
But with Hunger Brains, like, I'm not being funny. If I was to put myself into the founder or the person in charge or whoever it is, head of the project, let's just call it, come on, man, like, you would have somehow figured out that your dev is about to kind of put your contract exactly like Bear Game. You would double check it. You would.
I think that maybe, and I say this with all due respect, there was a little bit of hubris. You know, like just this idea that, like, you know, we're these people, we're in the top of the game, we're gonna launch this great project, and you know, whatever we touch will turn to gold. And, you know, it seems like somebody pulled one over on them. And, you know, I think it was in the voice chat when this was all going down, and be like, this to me just seems like one of those situations where everybody just assumed that somebody else did the diligence, and it didn't happen.
But then that's on them.
No, it is. And I do think that this is, like, you know, taking it down a peg, or however you want to call it. But I just think that this was, like, you know, a group of people who were really at the pinnacle of the NFT trading game. And it just went wrong, you know, like it happened. We've seen huge companies crumble because people just missed something or did something stupid, or, like, you know, the blinders were on because they just believed that the money train was never going to end.
Yeah, true. And before you go, free market, what are you saying?
Okay, so I am most excited about Starcatchers, which we've mentioned, Tasty Bones, which we've mentioned, and I promise you will hear a lot more about those projects through Alphamint. There's things in the work there. Invisible Friends is very obvious, but obviously extremely difficult to get on that whitelist. As far as games and P2E, we have Raid Party, which we've talked about a lot. That may be the one I am most excited for. And then I would say my wild card here is Sup Drive. Do you know about Sup Drive?
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, you may be in that Discord. That would be Dom of Loot fame. He's big guy in NFTs, kind of a famous influencer. This was going to be a project that launched last year. A lot of stuff came up. It's been delayed a lot, but I believe when they do start that one up, it's going to be huge. If anyone needs me to drop any of those Discords or links, just let me know. But there is a chance that could be a first quarter thing. So that one I'd be on the watch for too, though there's no official announcements yet. Those are the ones I'm most excited about.
Not Cool Pets.
Yeah, you know what? I saw Cool Pets mentioned by Shubang, of course. And
I'm such an idiot for forgetting that one. I'm on that whitelist. I am so excited about that one.
That to me, like, it had crossed my mind. That to me seemed like an easy pick, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of just like didn't.
Oh.
Now, Invisible Friends and Cool Pets are the easy. Those are like the made men of the first. Yeah, those are the made men of the first quarter. But it's obviously very, very difficult to get on the allow list for either of those. So it's really just about. Yeah, sure. If you're a liquid whale, hit those things in the public sale or right after, snipe on the secondary. As far as getting on those allow lists, those are tough. But if you can swing it, I think that's free money.
I think Hunger Brains is going to do a great thing for these projects too. And they're going to do an extra layer of diligence there, saying like, we've got all this hype, we've got all of this, the world is in our hands right now. Let's triple check everything that we're doing and make sure that this goes off flawlessly. So I think that those are going to be really good drops in light of all of that's happened. You know what? Honestly, we were talking so much today, and you mentioned getting on the allow list. And I completely forgot to go back to the Metalink conversation that you were kind of going on about. And I really quickly just want to give that a shout out because I think it was a really great mention for Alphamint and the work that we as a community, everybody, not just the team, has been doing. And I sorry that Zakoki just popped in, and then Cass, you're kind of just hanging out here too, but I hope you don't mind. He went on, Metalink did this whole thread about how to get on an allow list. There are 13 ways to get easy early access to the hottest collections like Cool Pets or Invisible Friends before they mint. This is such a big topic, especially for newer people trying to get into the space and be able to get their hands on these really hot projects. He goes through like invest in big collections with active communities. So, like joining like the kaijus that Free Market always talks about, being in a lot of those alpha rooms or, well connected, like even Lemon Friends has done really well to get Cool Pets spots.
Yeah, that was I was really heartened because, getting into the large alpha communities can be expensive, buying a Kong, buying a kaiju. But to get into, he mentioned that getting into the smaller communities can be very beneficial as well, especially the well-connected ones. And lo and behold, he shouts out Little Lemon Friends. Boy, a shout out for Alphamint and Little Lemon Friends in the same thread. I was verklempt. And if you guys do not know Metalink, so they did a wrap up at the end of the year. That was just the hit of the NFT world. It was like that Spotify wrap up that shows you what bands you've listened to, what songs you did, but it was all NFTs. Like, what was the first NFT you bought? How much gas did you spend? And it put it in such a fabulous infographic UI made by none other than our resident Charlie Hilton. Just a fabulous thing all around. And if you haven't tried their Launchpad and working product, this is your NFT portfolio at a glance. I bet all of you listening right now will go through your NFTs every day and you're doing these calculations in your head. All right, I have these from this collection. That's about this ETH. And then and you scroll down all the way to the bottom. You do that math in your head. You try to convert it to USD and you go, all right, I think I'm kind of worth this much if I check. You can go on to your Metalink Launchpad and you have your entire portfolio there at a glance. All right. It's in beta. They're going to be improving, and beta is probably the wrong term. I'm not an engineer. They are a brand new. they're a brand new launched product. Obviously, they're going to be improving constantly, but this at-a-glance NFT portfolio is such a killer feature. So thank you, Jake Udell, and thank you, Metalink, for that shout out. And you guys should really go check that product out.
Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly what he said in there, was just to like, get into alpha groups, be a part of a community, and it's basically the crowdfunding or the crowdsourcing of information and using it together for a mutual benefit. What that the sum of all of the parts is greater, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, right? And that's absolutely true in this space too. There's a lot of great ideas in this too. The one that I liked was, use your skills, do the 1% more, make yourself stand out. Like Dirty Milk had a really great idea that he's used to great success. Some artists do their own unique work. Like he highlights one for the species right here, this great little piece of 3D art. We've seen people do some like songs or raps or writing poems or all of that stuff. Like there's a million things you can do about it. And this was a great thread. So we appreciate the shout out, and honest to God, we were not expecting that at all. So that was very, very kind of him to do that. So yeah, we thank you. All right, let's bring Zakoki on up. Cass, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's okay. You can air me off and put me down. It's all right.
No, honestly.
You said that so sad.
I wanted to touch on that because it was important. It was very nice to have an Alphamint shout out from people in that kind of echelon. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I wouldn't say nothing. I was just waiting for you to kick me off. That's all. I'm not going to say. There's no need for me to say nothing now. Just swipe me off and it's fine.
Oh yeah, always love having you up here, dude. You have yourself a good weekend. I'm sure we'll cross paths over the weekend, my friend.
Definitely, and I'll speak to you on Monday.
Yeah,
I just realized what we're paid in WETH from Looks. It's going to go up when Ethereum goes up. Did you realize that? Like 0.1 is $340 now, but do you realize that could be $1,000 in the not so distant future, R2?
Yeah, dude, I said that on the show yesterday. Thanks for listening.
Oh.
No, it's totally true. The value of Looks can go up or down, but that WETH is locked in terms. So, yeah,
we love the WETH.
0.8 in 4 days, I'll take it. Or 0.08, sorry, not 0.8. Zakoki, what's going on, man?
Lucas, relax.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hello, guys. Good morning.
GM.
I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the way Azuki dropped. So they did something interesting by having the Dutch auction before the whitelisted people. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I don't know if that's a common thing, but it's, as far as I know, that's something kind of unique to how they dropped it. Where
what is the whitelist pay? What's their price?
I didn't even realize there was a presale on it.
Neither did I.
They had like I think 1,500 on the whitelist, and then the rest were the Dutch auction before. So I actually don't know what their mint price is because I wasn't on the whitelist. But just watching it from afar, it's very, very interesting because it seems like the people on the whitelist get rewarded heavily because all the Dutch auction price, the price of the Dutch auction, like completely inflated it. So the people on the whitelist that minted, I guess, get a way nicer bag off that. But it also concerns me as well for the longevity of the project, because when you're starting off at like 2.5 to 3 ETH, and then I don't know if that's sustainable post reveal, so those people that bought in at that high post reveal, like is the ball gonna get rolling right away with the project? That are things on the roadmap gonna start being completed within the first couple of weeks, or are they gonna have that post reveal kind of lulling moment where they're trying to get their feet under them and trying to get the development rolling of the project? So
probably
they're starting off.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that. I mean, it's possible. I always say, the really smart projects will have that roadmap as an arrow in their quiver, ready to shoot at any time. So if they're thinking that way, it's certainly possible, but probably not. I would expect this reveal to go the same way as most reveals where the hype is pulled forward. Remember, why do I think Cat Bricks can do the opposite? Because the hype is the opposite. The hype has been pulled backwards. Like, if there's going to be hype, it's going to be on the reveal, not before. With Azuki, it's most likely the other way around. The hype was completely pulled forward. And unless they reveal these commons and they're somehow more stunning than the previews, and I love the previews. I love the art. I love the previews. I think Azuki's going to do very well. But I think it's going to be a typical reveal in which we see it fall to maybe 1.2, 1 or 1.5, somewhere closer back to mint price. As far as a backwards allow list, I'm not against that. You know, R2 had a great metric that he kind of came up with the other, and, you know, pointing out that if you see the majority of the sales on the higher numbers of a collection, indicating that it was the public sale that is dumping and not the pre-sale, that's usually bullish, right? Because it usually just means that the traders like Sneaky are trying to make their 2x and get out, and ideally the redistribution will be beneficial for unique holders. Whereas with Azuki, they're doing it backwards. Now, I think that when you're in a pre-sale, you're more dedicated to a project, you're more likely to hold. You've probably believed in it from the beginning. So I don't expect, say, if the pre-sale is allowed to mint now, they're going to go dump on all the people who Dutch auctioned. I think there's a pretty high chance most of them would hold through just because they're fans of the project. You know, your allow list are your biggest fans. They're your most likely diamond hands. Not that, of course, some of them are probably traders who just got lucky and got in early, but those are your most likely candidates to be holders. So maybe, especially after watching the Artifact debacle, which we know wasn't a debacle in retrospect because they had that arrow in their quiver I always talk about. But
that's where I was going to go with this too. Yeah.
Right. But had they not, you know, the fact that they did the way they did their pre-sale really, really screwed secondary sales. I mean, it was such a botch because traders have a certain mindset and they're looking at things a certain way. And the way it played out, it compelled most people to dump before that news came out, and they all had a bad taste in their mouth. R2 could probably elaborate.
Yeah. So, I mean, the one thing is, like, you got to remember that the pre-sales typically go, or sorry, not the pre-sales, the pre-reveals typically go down on reveal, because baked into that price is the chance of a rare as well, right? For every NFT that you hold, you have that chance, especially in a hype project like Azuki, at that 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 ETH sale, right? So the pre-reveals are always going to trade at a premium, and then there's going to pull back as people, you know, get their you know, their floors kind of all sorted out. You know, you see the same thing about the Pokemon cards, you know, the unopened packs from 15 years ago, and there's the chance that there's a gold Charizard in there, or a holographic one, or something like that. And now there's only a handful of these left, so the price keeps going up and up and up, because the chance at that becomes more and more and more valuable too. So, you know, I would hope that Azuki has done some thought into like the floor management. And, you know, we don't always want to talk about floor, but like, going back to Clonex, they had that extra bullet in the chamber with, oh, by the way, you know, for those of you that are still holding and not taking the free money, Nike, and boom, off you go, right? And maybe this is a project that kind of has that swag to it too. But yeah, I mean, you got to look at the people that are going to be buying at this point for 2.5 ETH. I'm hoping that it's not somebody that just has 3 ETH in liquidity, because they are, you know, potentially in for a world of hurt, and that's a big overextension of their portfolio. I think the last thing that I wanted to say was you got to look at the type of people that are getting onto presale lists. Now, none of this is a knock, because presale lists are incredibly important. They're an incredibly great tool for getting in at the lowest cost basis that you can. Potentially avoiding gas wars, but you know, the big whales of the world aren't necessarily focused on pre-sale lists because it is very time consuming, and they are okay with spending a premium to pick out the ones that they want. But if you're new to this space and you're looking to build liquidity and you're looking to build a great portfolio and trade really well, it behooves you to get onto these lists so that you have a better shot and a better upside when you're participating in these plays. Now, everybody, especially when you're first starting out, wants to hit that next Bored Ape. They want to hit that 10 ETH sale. And what happens is it definitely does create like a hodler mentality and a diamond hands mentality, because at the end of the day, it's not sexy to eke out 0.1 profits here and there, although the great traders will do so if they have to. For newer people, you don't want that 0.1. You want that 1 ETH sale. You want that 4 ETH sale. And it definitely makes you a little bit more protective. So that's why I think that you see a lot of those lower serial numbers being sold on the pre-sale, being held on to for longer periods of time. And the public sale is that get in, oh, the hype cycle is not here for this project, get out. And that's why they sell. That's why I'm bullish on the fact of seeing high serial numbers being listed pre-reveal. So I hope that kind of answers your question in the terms of Azuki. Like, yeah, it probably is going to go down. That tends to be the trend, unless these exceed all expectations when they start revealing. But the high expectation is already baked in too. So these have to be like really, really, really fucking exceptional to overcome the hype that they've already created. And that's not a bad thing. You are going to see people playing the 1 of 1 in the rare lottery, right?
But yeah, now all the pressure is on Azuki's side to land to hit on this, because if they flop, a lot of people are going to be upset and a lot of people are going to be burned. And I wanted to ask, and also your tip.
Well, what constitutes a flop, honestly? Like, if you don't mind me asking you, if these things settle down to 1.3, 1.4, and they're sitting 40% above mint price after it shakes out, does that constitute a flop for Azuki?
Well, I mean more of a flop on like their end of like the development of like the brand and the partnerships and what they're going to be doing. Like if they don't really have anything in the chamber, if they're kind of just like figuring it out as things go on with this explosive launch, then I would consider that like a flop on their end, like on the team's end, not really like on the floor price end. But it could result in like a poor floor. But the good thing about the project is that the floor, or like the mint price, was quote unquote 1 ETH. So like even if it recedes back, like it's still probably not gonna dip below 1 ETH unless something significantly terrible goes wrong.
I agree with that. Or they're very underwhelming.
Yeah, or like the art is just exactly. And then a second thing was, are you guys looking at CO1 right now?
Yeah, I actually saw somebody mention that in the chat. I'm going to pull up the comment there. Peg6 said, why are you guys not talking about CO1?
Yeah.
First of all, like, there is so much stuff to talk about, and Free Market and I both like to go on tangents about things, so the show ends up running a long time. But we have a limited amount of topics to go on. But it looks like it was a very successful mint, and the floor is doing very well. Still in pre-reveal. And I'm going to be watching it. I have no doubt that we'll talk about it next week on the show, depending on
I don't know. I don't know how, but Clonex is the only one who nailed this look. These are as ugly as non-fungible peoples. I don't understand how any of these projects are pumping.
Yeah, I
am just so confused why anybody would want something like this to represent them in the metaverse. I think Clonex nailed it with the plasticity. We talk about it on this show a lot. We all want to be toys. Nobody wants to look like this realistic, like skin texture human being. I just, I just don't, I don't get it. I understand it's a deal with Champion. It's a deal with this. It's a deal with that. It's not my cup of tea. I'd rather be a Deadfellas who are also mooning.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned that too. Like, this is an instance where like the quality of the work is very good. Love the detail. I'm a huge fan of this like dystopian future, cyberpunk augmentation style and stuff like that. Like, I can't get enough of this. But in terms of like being an avatar or a metaverse character, yeah, I think that the problem with hyper realism is that, as Free Market said, it's not as fun. First of all. And second of all, like, there tends to be this element of lifelessness to them that looks, it's a little bit creepy, if I'm being honest with you. And that's not to detract from the work. It just kind of is what it is. Like, they're the very lifeless eyes just kind of staring.
If I saw one of these things
Yeah, no, I bet these will look good in a video game, running around with movement, with motion and stuff like that. But I mean, I see this. I see it doing very well. You know, if you had asked me this before the mint, if this was something I was going to get hyped about, the answer unfortunately would be no. Now, when the floor price starts going up on a project, everything starts to look better. I mean, even Free Market and I have admitted to, you know, the bored apes growing on us over time.
It's a good looking,
but not,
it's a good looking PFP.
Not it didn't really strike that chord back when it was presented to us at 0.3 ETH, believe it or not. And that will, you know, forever be one of the biggest misses I think we could both take. But everything looks great at a high floor price. And you know, I'm curious to see where this goes. It's doing very, very well right now, and I appreciate you guys bringing it up. But yeah, and I mean, I see you guys say like a Warner Brothers artist is involved with CO1. Like
that's a red flag to me.
There's a lot of Warner Brother artists. There's a lot of Disney artists,
yeah.
Unless it's
that
like
is such a big red flag. There is an entire cabal. All these 3D projects are done by one company, and I know it's not literally, I'm kind of being metaphoric here, but there's basically a known model throughout parts of the world where you get an artist who has at some point worked on a show for Warner Brothers or Disney. You attach Disney artists to a hyper realistic project like Primal Apes. These are all done by the same people. This is, I'm telling you, this is one of the bigger fake trends within NFTs, whether it's that Champions thing that we saw, or whether it's this. These are the biggest fugazi projects you've ever seen. Maybe CO1 and NFP is different because of their partnerships, but you know, if one of these things walked up behind me in a dark alley, I would Muay Thai first and ask questions later. These things are just frightening in the worst way. And I hope they go to 10 ETH for anyone who holds them.
Sure, yeah, that's not what this show is about. I mean, we don't bring these things up to just like FUD bags and stuff like that. You know, we just talk about our opinions on stuff. And historically, these hyper realistic projects and you know, big large scale drops typically are underwhelming. I'm looking at the website. They you know, it looks good. They put some effort into it. It's very clean. It just doesn't excite me in the same way that some other more, you know, creative style projects go. And honestly, I saw that you know, Warner Brothers designer Gilberto Zaragoza. I mean, it honestly, at the end of the day, that didn't mean anything to me. That wasn't like a statement that went, oh shit, this is legit. You know, it was never like Apple CEO Steve Jobs. It's just fucking Steve Jobs. You know, like that name speaks for itself. You know who Steve Jobs is. You know he was the founder and the CEO of Apple and design visionary. Like, you don't need those titles at the end of your name or the beginning of your name if your name speaks for itself. Nobody
He's
says
the best
like,
we ever had.
Famous street artist Banksy. No, it's just fucking Banksy, man. Banksy.
And and another thing is, if you guys checked out their Discord before, I just didn't like it at all. Like, you have to invite 10 people. Get to level
I'm already
7.
out. I'm done.
Their Discord right now is so artificially inflated. It's crazy. There's like over 350,000 people in there, but it's all because people. It's all because people were not even chatting in there. It was all just a level 7 chat grind. Invite 10 friends, and then you get on the whitelist. It was
one of the best devs. One of the best devs in the game once said to me, if a Discord is more than 10,000 people, I'm out. And obviously that's a bit of an exaggeration. There are projects that do get, you know, bigger counts than that. But I'll tell you, the really great long-term projects, they start with Discords between 5 and 10 and build up as their project becomes popular. It's very rare that one of those like ridiculously hyped Discords becomes the next thing. I mean, come on.
If we're pre-mint and there's 350,000 people in a Discord, it's a bigger red flag to me than it is like a buy signal. Honestly, it just is. Why? What are 350,000 people doing in there for something that hasn't dropped yet, unless it's like a well-known established brand like Artifact, or if Nike opened up a Discord and they were doing the
Right.
drop, like by all means, 350,000 is peanuts to a brand like that. But
because
if this
they
is
have real
if this is
communities.
Warner Bros. Designer Gilberto Zaragoza with 350,000 people in the Discord, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. It just, like you said, invite 10 people, grind to level 7. Like, that's not community. That's
invite
just
10 robots and grind to level 7.
100%. It just doesn't look good in my opinion, and I would be very cautious about buying this on the secondary, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, when you see somebody on Twitter and you you click on their profile and you're like, oh shit, they have 700,000 followers, and then you look at the engagement on their posts and it's like 6 likes and maybe a retweet or something. You're like,
right,
what does that mean? This
right,
person built up a
700,000.
Yeah, man, love to always
thank you,
have you. Thank you for coming
Zakopi.
up.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, man, you too. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I do want to just reiterate though, like, please, if free market and or myself are bearish on a project, or we don't love it, it is just us being honest, because that's what we do on this show. It's not meant to fudge your bags. And if you have strong conviction in a play, I honest to God, I hope it works out for you. I have no skin in that game, so if it get to 100 ETH or 0 ETH, it's not going to affect me either way. But I hope for your sake it does go to 100 ETH, because that's a great win for you. But we talk candidly about stuff. We're not here to just pump up bags, and even our own bags. The things that we've taken L's on, as free market mentioned today, completely wrong about Hunger Brains. That's okay, right? That's not a big deal. So I don't want anyone to feel like you bring a project up and we're just gonna shit all over it. That's not the goal here.
So 2 honorable mentions here, projects that I miss: Crypto Bats and Peaceful Groupies. Yes. I obviously won't go deep right now, but those are really big and build for the first quarter. And finally, guys, there is a Cool Cats Town Hall today, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. And while that's normally not interesting for non-Cool Cats holders, we will be finding out the Cool Pets mint price today. We found out the supply. Nice. It's going to be a 20,000 supply. So today, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, tune in and you will find out what Cool Pets is minting at. We'll obviously be talking about that on the show tomorrow.
Worked great for Bored Ape Kennel Club. I mean, hey, you want to do a show tomorrow? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Monday, guys. I'm sorry.
Got everyone's hopes up there. Yeah, the weekend. The freaking weekend.
All right, so we'll talk about it Monday.
Honestly, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The show definitely went longer than we said it would, but always love having you here. And thanks for everyone for the great discussion. Of course, if you tuned in late, this will be in its entirety on YouTube and Spotify. If you did tune in late, just to give you a heads up, we went pretty in deep on Fees.WTF. We talked about World of Women for a while. We riffed on LooksRare again. We talked about some historical phase and, whether Artblocks and, some of these older projects are ripe for the picking. We talked Monfters Club and whether there's going to be some, of the Asian communities coming online into the NFT space. Starcatchers, we went in deep on cat blocks again, as we are both very bullish on that. So make sure if any of those topics appeal to you, you can go back and check them out. And again, we'd love to have the conversation with you. So anyways, on that note, guys, you guys have yourself a great weekend. Appreciate all of you, and free market, take us away.
Good luck at the tables, you beautiful degenerates.